What is up, my fellow golf ball addicts? Welcome back to the channel, and we are now starting the brand new 2024 Snell lineup, starting with, of course, the 2.0. Let's dive right in. So last year, Snell had a big rebrand. They redesigned the logo, they redesigned the look of the golf ball, they made some changes, and it was met with pretty good critical success. Even coming from me, I really loved what they did a lot. I partnered with them for the video. It was overall a really great experience, but what I was really surprised the most by is that they kept that price point of $33 a dozen, despite all the COVID inflation and all the stuff. You know, you see golf balls like Vice even, and Pro V1s, Callaway Chrome Tours now going up in price just because of inflation and all the stuff going on, and it's been hard as a guy who loves the value of golf balls, but Snell has been really true. Snell is a company that understands what direct-to-consumer means. They understand about keeping the prices low. They understand what the idea of it is and how to retain their customers, and the fact that they kept it that price was just amazing. So now this year they've done some tweaks, they've done some adjustments, and they've come out with essentially a rebranded lineup of what they had. Now before they had the Snell Prime, they had the Snell Prime Prime X, MTBX, whatever you want to call it. One golf ball, of course, being for, you know, like your normal tour ball, and then of course one being for the faster swingers, the X model. What they have done is they have kind of revamped those. They've made now the 3.0 and the 4.0, the 3.0 being the traditional MTB Prime ball, and the 4.0 being kind of the new X model, if you will. But the 4.0, it really keeps it simple. 4.0 has 4 layers. The 3.0 has 3 layers. They've also introduced another golf ball to this mix, the 2.0, which, yes, has 2 layers. Now, some of you who have watched the channel and know Snell's golf balls might be saying, well, they already have the Snell Get Some, so that's a 2-piece golf ball, so is that what this is supposed to replace? No, the Snell Get Some and the 2.0 are 2 totally different golf balls, and by the end of this review, you'll kind of know the difference between them, because there is a huge difference for sure. So let's dive right into the 2.0. The 2.0 is a 2-piece golf ball, but where it differs from every other 2-piece golf ball in the market that I've ever tested, it has a urethane coating, and it feels fantastic. When you get this golf ball and you pull it out of the package and you feel it, you would not guess it's a 2-piece golf ball. It acts, feels, looks, everything like a normal premium golf ball, which is phenomenal. It also keeps a really competitive price point at $25 a dozen. Now, $25 for a dozen does seem kind of high, or at least on the higher spectrum of 2-piece golf balls. Your Callaway Super Soft is that, and you know, your Soft Response, or I'm sorry, not Soft Response anymore, it's Speed Soft ink that came out. Those are $25 as well, but the main difference here is that you are getting that urethane coating, so you're getting a better value. You know, those other ones are going to be an Ion or Surlyn blend. Getting urethane is a big deal on a 2-piece golf ball. It's one of the biggest complaints I get when I recommend them. So looking at the golf ball, great new logo. Love what they did with that rebrand. It looks so much more professional than the old logo. The Snell 2.0 will have a red, kind of like the X model did, and also the 4.0 still has that, but a red model there. Coming along on the side, you know, it's a really good alignment tool. Lines on both sides of that, Prime in the middle. It really helps with lining up. It's not overly hard on the eyes or anything. I really love it. And again, when you look at the dimples, you look at the coating, you feel the golf ball, it really does feel premium, which is awesome. You don't get that with a lot of 2-piece golf balls. A lot of 2-piece golf balls, although they may perform great, just don't look and feel very premium. So that's where Snell automatically gets a pretty good advantage. So looking at the golf ball, we know it's a good value. We know that it has a great new design. Everything really checks out there. There's no issues. Let's get out to the chipping and putting green and let's see how it does around there. I'm interested to see what a 2-piece golf ball with a urethane coating can do as far as spin. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna do this again. Listen, so one thing I really noticed about this golf ball is the urethane coating is not like a cheap urethane coating. There's obviously more Premier, Pro V1, Callaway urethane coatings, and there's cheaper ones, you know, the $29 budget direct-to-consumer. This does not feel like a cheap one. This one feels sticky. It feels like it would really stick, and I did see signs of that. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it again. I'm gonna do my putting motion now just to kind of... Okay, very good. That reminds me of more of a budget ball, but it's a 2-piece. Get in the hole, baby. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's what I'm talking about. I'm gonna open the face a little bit here. Look at that. Look at the bounce to the right there. I mean, you can see that. That's way more spin with any two-piece I've ever gotten. I mean, oh my gosh, guys, that is incredible for a two-piece golf ball. I mean, this is performing just as well, if not better, as some of the three-piece models. I'm still not there. I'm still short. This is the mallet putter now. Gonna get a feel here. Already really good and impressed with the wedge. Okay, a little dead, but there is a small, tiny click for feedback, which I like. A little too far, so let's try to take it a little off here. Boy, it just jumps off the putter. Let's see if that gets there. No, just a little short. Okay, let me find the feel here. It is a little bit of a learning curve because, you know, these really soft two-piece golf balls, you got to kind of feel. All right, a little short again. I'm gonna run through that again. I gotta find the feel here. All right, here, let's try a little, still on the mallet here, trying to get the feel. Oh my goodness, okay, way too far. Just give me a second here to try to find this feel. All right, I finally found the distance, but just not the right accuracy here. There we go. All right, so moving into the blade putter now, I expect there to be a little more response here. No, not really. Actually, it feels exactly like the mallet putter to a T. Let me try again here. Let's validate our parking. Yeah, no, I mean, it feels exactly like the mallet putter. That should be a little short. That's exactly what I thought. Let me move this way a little bit, try to get that other ball out of the way. And, ooh, just a little far. No, I like that though, that's good. All right, so I'll be honest with you, I cannot remember the last time I tested a two-piece urethane golf ball. This might be the first time, but I will say that the first thing I noticed is when I was chipping around the green with it, it had so much more stopping power. I mean, that gripping, when you feel the golf ball, it feels sticky. It feels like it's really gonna stick a green well, and I saw that. I saw it when I was chipping and I got a good shot off. I saw it when I duffed it a little bit. You could really see it stop and hit that green and really stop for a second and then release. The fact that it offers that type of level of forgiveness, as well as now you can actually get some checkup around the green. I don't recall a two-piece golf ball ever performing quite this well around the green when it comes to the spin. This golf ball acts like a three-piece golf ball. It just does, and I think it's because of that urethane coating. In the past, I've never really realized how much the urethane coating helps. I know it helps, don't get me wrong. I know it definitely adds to the spin, but I had no idea that by taking a two-piece golf ball and just adding a urethane coating, you could get that level of stopping power. Now, granted that once it does release pretty firm. It goes pretty straight. But I just had no idea that could add that much stopping power. So because you can see by that line down there, it's pretty cool how much stopping power it really adds. Now, as far as the feel, it feels soft, it feels squishy, it feels forgiving. It has all those assets of a two-piece golf ball that I would be looking for, that most people would be looking for. When I got to the putter, on both the mallet and the blade, it had the exact same feel. You'd be surprised how rare that is actually, but it's very rare to have the same feel. It feels mostly soft and dead for the most part, but there's just a tiny little bit of feedback and click there to let you know whether you hit it well or not. And the thing is what the pushback, if you will, that I get from most golfers when I suggest a two-piece golf ball is they say, well, I'm looking for that tour level feel around the green. Well, what this does is it essentially balances it out. If you have a scale where over here you have two-piece and over here you have tour level, it's right in the middle. It's a balance. It takes the best of both worlds and kind of combines them a little bit. Hey, yes, you're gonna get that forgiveness around the green. You're also gonna get some spin around the green. You're gonna get a little bit of feedback around the green, but you're also gonna get that really squishiness that allows it to propel. As you could see from the putting, it took me a minute to get used to the feel as far as how the distance was because it was springing off the club so fast. All right, excellent. So let's go ahead and talk about the feel of the golf ball across all clubs before we dive into the numbers. It's interesting. So it does have a little bit of a dead feel, which is fine. Some two-piece golf balls do. It does have a little bit of bouncy ball effect. Not much, but a little bit when you hit it right in the sweet spot, which is interesting. Most two-piece golf balls, because their compression is so much lower, I get a lot of bouncy ball effect, which essentially means I hit the golf ball and it feels like a bouncy ball coming off. It just springs off the club and it rockets off of it. Not as much as I would have thought with this golf ball. I would have guessed a lot more, but overall not bad. Still has a decent feel, but boy, it's just kind of dead and soft. If you're looking for any type of feedback whatsoever, you won't get that. And the Snell Get Some actually does have that. It actually does have some feedback, so it's kind of interesting there. I'd have to look at the compression numbers to see if this one's lower, but boy, it feels lower, that's for sure. Not a bad feel, doesn't super impress me, but there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, that's kind of how modern golf balls are now. A lot of them are kind of dead with a little bit of spring, so if you like that type of feel, this will be up your alley. Let's go ahead and dive into these numbers here. Let's start with the 50-yard pitch. Now keep in mind, urethane golf ball, maybe actually it will get a little bit more spin. 7,869, which is just slightly above my average. That's really, really good. You know, most tour level golf balls will get just over 8,000, such as the Pro Plus, the Vice Tour Air. Callaway Warbird was a two-piece golf ball. I got 7,600, so it does better essentially than most two-piece golf balls I've tested. It got a little bit more spin for sure. One thing I was just kind of disappointed in was the forgiveness. With two-piece golf balls, that's really the main selling point I try to get people to play them on. I'm like, hey, get a two-piece forgiving golf ball. Wasn't the case here with the Snell 2.0. If you mishit it, it was like 4,000, 5,000 RPM. Don't like to see that. There's other golf balls, like even the Vice Pro Plus I just got done testing. Even though it's a firmer, more tour advanced golf ball, when I mishit it, it was like 7,500, 7,400, opposed to losing 2,000 to 3,000 RPM. So not super impressed with that, but the fact is, if you do hit it correctly, it is going to spin more than a two-piece golf ball. In fact, a lot of the time I was able to get 8,200 to 8,500 out of it. It's just because of that disparity that brought the average down. All right, let's go ahead and get into the 9-iron now. I have added a new metric, smash factor. I've had a couple people suggest that. I'm still learning exactly, but I'm just going to go ahead and give it to you guys because, hey, more information necessarily ain't a bad thing. So 1.2 with the Snell. I don't have an average for that yet, but out of the Snell lineup, I will say that is the lowest I've had out of that so far. 125.4, kind of average there. 125.7, right on average. 97.8, which right now is average. And 7,055 on the spin, which that's actually just slightly above average, but not by much. That's pretty much average. So it looks like 23.7 on your launch as well, which that's right on mid. That's hilarious. So 9-iron across the board, pretty much average, everything average. That's a little concerning only because two-piece golf balls usually test really, really well on short irons. 9-iron, 7-iron, they usually do really well because when the compression's lower and I'm not swinging as fast, the golf ball compresses really, really well, doesn't have a lot of spin behind it, and just takes off like a bat out of heck. Not the case here. It really just didn't have that spring. You can see by the smash factor. Like I said, it's the lowest out of the 3 I've tested so far from Snell, and everything across the board is just average from, you know, the launch angle to the distance. Now, is there anything wrong with being average? No. I mean, that's a consistent number. Everything's there. But again, what I was really disappointed in was the fact that the forgiveness was just okay. I really expected the forgiveness to be better, but boy, you know, if I really got into one, it'd be 131, 132, and if I missed one, it was 110, 115. Two-piece golf balls usually just don't work that way. Getting into the 7-iron, 1.3 on your smash factor. That is pretty close to what I've gotten with the other ones. There's one ball that was more, but I'll save it. I won't spoil it. 153.6 on your distance, which is just slightly below average. Not too bad. 154.8, slightly below average. 111.6, kind of right in there with average. And then 59.41 on the spin, which, boy, that's really, really good, especially for a two-piece model. Yeah, I mean, almost 6,000 is awesome. It's going to stick a green. 18.4, and again, it launched mid, which, okay, it seems to want to launch mid. That's awesome. Again, across the board, average there. Nothing wrong with average. Again, not to harp on it and beat a dead horse, but it's just the forgiveness here across all clubs. Not real great. Now, I do think that there's a reason for that. I'll talk about it in my conclusion a little bit more, but this will be the last time I talk about the forgiveness. Just really disappointing there because the golf ball has potential. If you do flush it, you get phenomenal numbers with it, but it's just when you kind of slightly mishit it, it just kind of averages out to be average. That's all. Going into the 5 hybrid, we have a 1.35 smash factor, and then we have a 179.7, which again is just slightly above average. 182.6, slightly above average. 124.1, slightly above average. 5,032, and that's slightly below average, but just right in there in line with it. And then 16 launch, which is mid. Boy, really consistent. You know, I may harp on it for the forgiveness, but I will give it one thing. It is very consistent when you average everything out. When you average everything out and get all the averages in a row, I mean, average with the 9-iron, average with the 7, now average with the 5 hybrid, it's very consistent, at least, if anything, across all those platforms. So that at least is a good thing there. Boy, I just wish the forgiveness was better. But hey, let's get into the driver. The driver can be what makes it or breaks it sometimes. Getting into the driver, we have a smash factor of 1.43, which compared to the other two golf balls, it did exactly the same as another one, but there was a first place winner. Again, I won't spoil it. 226.1 on your distance, that's slightly above average. 235.1, slightly above average. 140.4 on your ball mile per hour speed, which is average. 2,260, that's actually slightly below average, which, hey, that's awesome actually. Low spin's awesome. And then a 15.3 launch, which was actually slightly higher, which makes sense because you do, if you have a two-piece golf ball, most of the time you want your golf ball, if you're swinging slower, you want it to get up in the air a little bit more. But you also usually want it to spin more too. So I don't know, that may be contradicting one another. But before I get into my final thoughts, I do want to talk about the durability. Now, with Snell, durability has been a big, big problem in the past. When the Snell golf balls were released last year, I did test them. I did a normal testing on durability, and they passed with flying colors. Excuse me. I have not had really any issues with them, but I started to have people get on the channel and talk about how, hey, they're cracking after one hit, and there's razor blade cuts on them after one hit, and it's awful. I even had one guy message me on Facebook one time and ripped me a new one. It was like, I can't believe I bought these because of you. I continued to use the golf balls, and I will say about a month ago I finally experienced what you guys were experiencing, and I do apologize. It's one of those things where not everybody's going to experience the same thing, but I did finally experience it with a sleeve of them. It was only one sleeve, but boy, I only got like 5 hits out of the whole sleeve, and they were destroyed. So these golf balls, the new Snell 2.0, 3.0, 4.0 line, I am putting them through extensive testing. Most of the time, I only do 10 to 15 shots per golf ball. I'm doing like 20. So I'm going to get 100 hits out of these golf balls. I'm not holding back. I'm doing full wedge shots just, to get a little extra durability testing in. Here's what I found out with the 2.0. The 2.0 actually holds up pretty decent until you kind of start to look really deep in there and you start to see some of these, what look like the paint chipping off essentially. But here's the thing. The paint starts to chip off, and after a couple more hits, these little lines you're seeing really open the golf ball up, and at that point, it would worry me. It would worry me a lot that this golf ball isn't going to have a true roll anymore. It's going to make me wonder about the flight. Because think about it. If you have a dimple, right, and the paint's kind of coming off like this a little bit, it's going to affect the ball flight 100%. I do think overall that it's a little bit of an improvement over last year because I haven't had any lacerations. I haven't had any just straight up. But it is a cause for concern. After I just got done doing the Vice line had almost near perfect durability across the board. Let's be honest for a second. Vice and this are pretty much direct competitors, both direct to consumer. I would consider them the #1 and #2 ranked, direct to consumer companies right now in my eyes. This is the competition, and so when I'm comparing it to the Vice and saying, hey, Vice has their stuff together when it comes to durability, I hope Snell can at least make a little more improvements over time because that seems to be the main issue with them. Again, it's not bad. I'd call it like a 6 out of 10. It's just okay. But after, 80 to 100 shots, this golf ball's toast. You got to toss it. There's no way around it. It's only going to last you a round. And quite possibly, I haven't done extensive testing. It could even be a little sooner than that. I hope that's not the case. But if you guys have any feedback on this, you play these golf balls and you discover it, please, again, let me know like you did last time. Let me know that feedback because I can't test Snell golf balls, for 3-4 months straight. I just can't. So if you guys experience any of that, let me know. All right, so final conclusion here. Interesting golf ball. We've never had on the channel, as far as I can remember anyway, a two-piece urethane golf ball. Now, as far as the value for that, amazing. As far as what they've done with the design, amazing. As far as, I didn't even mention it earlier, but they have bulk pricing. You can get these for $21, $22 a dozen if you buy them in bulk. That for two-piece urethane, it's insane. It's an insane value. Average across the board, but there were a couple things I noticed. First of all, like I said, forgiveness should have been way better. I don't know why it was so atrocious, but it was. Also, durability, it's okay, but boy, there's a lot of room for improvement. So who do I think this golf ball is for? Is there still a market for it? I do, actually. But again, that's something really interesting and weird about this golf ball. The Snell Get-Some, their other two-piece model, their iometer blend, is one of my favorite golf balls. It actually made #4 on my top 100 list. I shot my best round at Cabot Citrus Farms with it. I love that golf ball. It's very forgiving. It's very far. it actually has decent spin. It does a lot of things that like I would want a two-piece golf ball to do. This one, on the other hand, is more for the player, I believe, who is experienced. You know, you're a golfer who just doesn't swing the club as fast anymore. But when you could play, you were scratch. You were really, really good. Excellent ball striker. Know how to hit chips around the green. Know how to get the ball to check up. You know how to, know the game of golf. Be really good at it. Because I firmly believe that this golf ball is going to be for someone who can strike it pure every time. It's not for your average weekend warrior who's like, oh man, I just need some forgiveness and hit. No, this golf ball spins. For being a two-piece, it spins. You can get it to bend left and right. You can get it to backstop on you. You can get it to do a lot of things that most two-piece golf balls can't. And that leads me to believe that you really need to be an advanced player to play it based on, because I'm not, and there was times I struggled with it. There was times I was like, man, I'm just not good enough to hit this, because boy, you mishit it and you feel it and you know it. It offers like torque level feedback sometimes from a two-piece. Weird. Maybe the market did need this though. So is it worth trying out? Yes, if you fit in that market. 100%. If you're someone who's like, man, I'm a really good golfer, I can still, my handicap's 2 or 3, 5 or less, but I just don't swing that fast anymore. I really need like a two-piece golf ball, but I want something that spins. A lot of you on the channel have fought me for years saying, yeah, Nick, you're right, I probably do need a two-piece golf ball, but I gotta have that checkup, I gotta have that spin, I gotta have that. Well, here's your solution finally after all these years. It's worth a shot. It's only $25 to buy 1 dozen. It's not gonna break the bank. It does really good things. Bad side, you got to throw the ball out after the round probably. And yeah, I mean, make sure you're good because it's going to take that to hit it. But all other players, most 99% of people who need a two-piece golf ball, this doesn't fit what you're looking for. You're looking for something like the Snell Get Some, which by the way, amazing golf ball, $19.99. You can get them for 15 or 16 a dozen. I love that golf ball. It's absolutely incredible. But if you're the advanced player, here's what you go. So I like what Snell did there. I actually kind of like the fact that they still covered different markets. I was afraid that this golf ball and the Get Some were going to be too close, and then I was afraid they were going to get rid of the Get Some, and I was going to be like, no, I don't think that's the case. These are two totally different golf balls aimed at two totally different type of golfers. Guys, as always, keep watching to keep saving and keep learning. Now, next up, we have the 3.0 coming up. I think you're going to like it. I'll see you soon.